Hello and welcome to PACTV Community News. This week on the show, we'll take you to a Ninja Warrior training in Kingston, and our local eats brings us to an Italian deli and ice cream shop.
PCN visited a safe water presentation in Duxbury, and we pop into a very special concert held in Memorial Hall celebrating Stephen Karidionis of the Plymouth Philharmonic.
We hook up with AAA's Car Doctor for some more auto myth tips, and we get a preview of Duxbury Town Meeting with our government update segment.
We also have Leslie Cutler on set for a new Mindful Moments segment. It's going to be a great show, and we begin in Duxbury. Duxbury Safe Water held a presentation last month regarding vinyl-lined asbestos cement pipes that are in place in Duxbury as well as other communities on the South Shore, including Kingston and Plymouth. Dr. Anne Eschrengro, an epidemiologist from Boston University, was the guest speaker, and PCN stopped in to bring you this story.
I've been in town since 1971, and in 1980 it became known in the newspapers that there was a problem with VLAC pipes.
The pipes were initially installed back in the 60s by many towns up and down the New England seaboard, the seacoast, and they were touted by the producer of these pipes to be everlasting. They were the end-all be-all, nobody would ever have to replace these pipes. The problem was so many orders were coming in. From what we understand, the producer was actually spraying this vinyl lining within the asbestos cement pipes. That lining wasn't cured properly before it was shipped out and installed into the streets. And it's that lining that's been actually leaching tetrachloroethylene, otherwise known as PCE, into the water.
The water department determined there were somewhere around 60 streets in town that had these VLAC pipes because they knew the timeline that they were installed. They were installed between the late 1960s and they ended at 1980 when the federal government said you can't do it anymore. As the PCE diminishes, the vinyl lining can break down to polyvinyl chloride, which is a known carcinogen. So it's something you really don't want to have in your water system. The first cancers they connected to it was lung cancer because you're breathing in the steam from either a shower or cooking over the stove in boiling water. So they put some bleeders in, which meant at the end of the dead ends they would run a 2-inch pipe out and just run the water full tilt, 5 to 7 gallons a minute, out into the bushes and keep the water running so it didn't stagnate at the end of a cul-de-sac. That went on until the late 1996, when one of the neighborhoods who had tested very high asked a water department employee what they were doing with a bleeder, and he says, oh, it's for the PCE, and that individual neighbor was a chemical engineer. And he immediately went down to town hall and started demanding answers. And of course, new individuals were now at town hall, new water supervisors, new town manager, new DPW director, who they didn't know a great deal, but they scrambled quickly. I give them credit. They had a special town meeting in the fall in October. It was overwhelmingly approved at town meeting that all the pipes would be replaced, and they would start the funding at $1.5 million, and that every year at the capital budget at town meeting they would add an additional $400,000 and try to continue and do it in 7 years. But in 2004 to 2005, for whatever reason, the money was coming out of the water enterprise account. It was not coming out of the tax rate. And they decided that they would decrease the $400,000 to $100,000. It would take 3 or 4 years before you had enough money to do one street. So it's been dragged out now for 22 years. And we're down now to 5 streets.
People need to understand is that it doesn't matter what street you live on as far as if that street still has these old pipes or yours was replaced already, because all of the pipes, the water pipes in Duxbury are interlinked like a big web. So the contaminants from any one street are going to flow through the entire water supply. So everybody is exposed. It's not just limited to a particular street where those pipes are located.
They can't take them out of the ground. They're hazardous waste. They have to stay in the ground. But they will run a parallel line of brand new piping and brand new pipe laterals into houses. And it will take the better part of a year, and depending on weather, it could take a year and a half. The goal of the EPA and the DEP in Massachusetts is 0. That's your health goal, and the only way you get 0 is to replace the pipes.
A measure of exposure
Elisa Beard is not only a 5th grade teacher, but she is also an American Ninja Warrior. Bringing her combined experience of the show American Ninja Warrior and teaching, Elisa stopped by the Sky Zone in Kingston Collection to motivate and help build the confidence of some future Ninja Warriors.
My name is Elisa Beard, and I compete on the show American Ninja Warrior. When I'm not competing, I am a 5th grade teacher in Middleborough, Massachusetts. Being somebody who is on TV, there's a lot of interest, especially in ninja. Being a teacher too, I think I have a natural ability to work with kids. So with all of these pieces, it's kind of a natural fit. Local places like Sky Zone are able to have me come in, have a positive influence, I hope, on kids in the area, teach them some new skills, and really build the confidence of kids around here. It was sort of surreal my first season on American Ninja Warrior. Since then, it's become kind of a second nature thing. I've worked it into my schedule each year so far, and it's just amazing to be able to show my growth, but also keep inspiring kids and adults everywhere. I think what I've noticed the most about working with kids and adults is that kids will start to do things, and as parents are watching, they realize it's something that they want to try too. So I would say if you're interested, take your kids to the park, have some fun. It's something that can be experienced as a whole family, and it's a great thing to grow together in your community. There are so many lessons in American Ninja Warrior that are applicable in the real world, in the classroom. So I'm able to bring some of those things I've learned from the show into my classroom, into events like this, and teach kids that we're all going to fall, we're all going to fail, but what matters is that we get back up, we keep trying, we persevere, and we become better for it. I hope that kids can take away from experiences like this that they are capable of more than they thought they were, and that they realize that they can take risks and find success in things that might even be a little bit scary. Today, this event was really about building kids' confidence, allowing them to take some risks and realize things about themselves that they didn't realize they were capable of. So I helped challenge them, give them some opportunities to face their fears, and we had a great time today.
Local Eats is back as we visited a very charming and family-oriented deli in Kingston.
It's been said that it's all about location, right? Well, this family-owned authentic deli and ice cream shop sits on Pembroke Street in Kingston, right across from Silver Lake Regional High School. Just about everything in the store is homemade, including sauces, meatballs, pastas, soups, and desserts. Welcome to Local Eats in Nino's Deli and Ice Cream Shop. Let's go meet the family and get some lunch.
It's always kind of in the back of our heads to want to start a restaurant, and my father's family had 2 growing up, so I knew it was a passion of his to kind of want to carry it over.
I always loved this location. I thought it was the cutest little shop on the side of the street, and I love like the neighborhood it's in, and I'm really getting to know the neighborhood more before when I just would drive by it.
Proud to serve Kingston for a little over a year now. Opening day was a little hectic. It was great to see all these people coming in, and we really didn't know what to expect, but we knew that it was going to have a positive impact on the Kingston community and all the other communities around us.
It's so nice being across from the high school and the middle school. We get a lot of the parents and students that come in here. We cater the pizzas for the basketball games, so we do like to give back to them. I think running a successful business is very important, but also giving back to your community that you're in, not just Kingston, but also the surrounding towns. It's all family-oriented here. We all enjoy being here. Even on like weekends, you'll find my parents here, Joe's sister, her fiance here, Rose's sisters, my aunts, cousins, anyone, and we all have a strong passion for food. We love to be in the kitchen. Even before we were here, we always hosted at our house, at their house, at my parents' house. People would love to come over because they love the food we would make.
It's really great to see all of my family get together, and we kind of work off each other, and it's a good feeling. We have plenty of authentic, homemade Italian food with a real emphasis on homemade. We pride ourselves in all our homemade ingredients, our homemade doughs, our homemade pastas that my mother makes. Even the desserts that my wife Kim makes are incredible.
I make a kind of non-traditional cannoli filling. I use ricotta, but I use a couple other things that I keep as a secret. I dip them in chocolate chips, walnuts, pistachios, whatever you want, I can dip them in. So we have a lot of top-selling items. Number one would definitely be the Italian sub. Joseph makes a very good Italian sub. Customers will ask if he'll make it over any of us, so we let him do his thing. Fresh bread every day delivered. He cuts the deli meat, usually to order, so it's nice and fresh. He fully loads it up, it's delicious.
The thing that makes or breaks a pizza for me is the crust.
Also, our homemade pizza is very good. We make our own dough, we hand shred our cheese and the sauce. It's a very simple recipe, but you can really taste that it's homemade. It does make a difference. All of our toppings are fresh, nothing frozen, so it's a nice top quality pizza. Also, our chicken broccoli ziti is very popular. It's just a simple cream sauce, fresh broccoli, pasta, fresh cooked chicken breast. She seasons it, and we use some nice Parmesan cheese to give it that creaminess. The arancini rice balls are also very popular. Rose makes those every Saturday as a special. It's a fried risotto rice ball, and it's stuffed with peas, ground beef, and cheese.
Depending on our success, I think I'd like to see another location. Maybe down the line, a sit-down restaurant.
I definitely would like to get into more of like the baking aspect of it. I think it would be lovely to have all different Italian pastries fresh made here to pair well with our Italian pizza and entrees. Who knows? Anything could happen.
It's definitely a positive feeling. It's good to see all these people coming in and seeing stuff on social media and word of mouth that our food's really good, because I grew up on the food, so I know it's good. I want everyone else to know that it is good.
This year marks Stephen Karadionis' 25th year as conductor with the Plymouth Philharmonic. Over the years, Stephen has brought a strong passion for music and the arts to this community, and so Town of Plymouth deemed February 2nd Stephen Karadionis Day. A special anniversary concert was held in his honor. PCN was there to bring you the highlights.
Welcome again. I am Paul G. I am the chair of the board of the Plymouth Philharmonic, and on behalf of our musicians, Stephen, the entire board, and of course our incomparable staff, I want to welcome you to tonight's concert.
So tonight is a really special event for us, and it's special for so many reasons. First of all, tonight we get to celebrate our conductor, our music director, Stephen Karadionis. This is his 25th year as conductor of the Plymouth Philharmonic, and tonight we get to honor him for all he's done for the Plymouth community, for the beautiful music he has brought here, for the wonderful ways that the Phil touches so many people in this community. So tonight, Stephen gets to sit down. He doesn't have to stand up in front of the orchestra. That's going to be a little change. I'm not quite sure how he's going to deal with that, but tonight we're honoring Stephen. The other piece tonight is that this is our biggest fundraiser of the year. So typically the Phil has a gala in the spring, but we decided this year, in part because of Stephen, that we wanted to change it up. And so tonight, rather than having a gala event, we're having a concert. And what's wonderful about this is we get to invite the whole community. Often at a gala, it's just a few hundred people. Tonight, the whole community gets to be here to celebrate this with us. And so we have more than 1,000 people here tonight, which is just fantastic. So I'm just so thankful to everyone who supports the Philharmonic in ways large and small. It's just wonderful. And so we're honoring them too tonight in many ways.
The orchestra is a great place to play. It's one of my favorites to play in. Stephen makes it feel like a family. He really knows the music. He knows what he wants out of the orchestra. And everything he does is geared towards making sure the audience has a good time when they're there.
He is so warm, friendly, welcoming. Every time I come in for a solo, there's a big smile on his face. And it's really allowed me to take chances and grow as an artist. So it's been good for me. I love playing here. It's my favorite place to play.
When we perform, we are hoping that the audience will feel some of the things that the composer was trying to convey, and then possibly, as Stephen adds his own things, feel that as well. and have a better understanding of what, and Stephen is always very good about explaining what the music is. He has the pre-concert lecture, but even during the concert, he likes to talk sometimes and tell them, here's what you might want to listen for, here's what you might want to listen for. So they already know, even if they've never heard the piece, what they're going to be listening to.
The years have gone by really fast. I don't believe it's been 25 years. And there's so much more music, great music to do with not just the orchestra, but with the community and for the community. One of the good things that was helpful for me to do, we do so much in advance with our music. So I've already planned my 26th season. And we're already planning the budget part of that and getting it all together. But it was cathartic for me to go past 25. Because everybody's been thanking me and saying congratulations for 25, and it's just a number. I mean, to me, after 35, maybe we should start talking.
The other piece tonight is that we get to welcome our really good friends, Will and Anthony Nunziata, back to Memorial Hall. We had Will and Anthony perform with the orchestra at last year's Spring Pops, and they tore the house down. The audience loved them. They were so engaging, they were so fun, and they're amazingly talented singers and performers. So this just felt like the right thing to do, to bring them back, and they're thrilled to be able to perform again here in Plymouth. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say also how thankful I am to Diane and Gary Glick. Diane and Gary have been among our biggest supporters and donors, but tonight what they did was they paid for all of the costs of the concert and everything that goes into that. And as a result, that means that every dollar we raise tonight goes right to the Phil. It goes right to supporting our concerts. It goes right to supporting all the educational programming we do in the schools, to bring music appreciation to young people, which is so valuable. And last year we kicked off something that we're really so happy about, which is that, you know, there were a lot of seniors who were shut in, and they can't get to a concert at Memorial Hall. It's too difficult. So last year we decided to bring the music to them. And we bring small ensembles, and this is also going to help to fund that. So it's such a special evening for us here at the Phil. I mean, I've been in this role as board chair for a few years, and I can't remember being more excited about a night than I am tonight.
It's a privilege and a gift to be a part of this community, to be a part of what makes the South Shore special. And let's face it, over these years, especially the past 15 or so, the arts and culture here throughout the whole South Shore has made this a destination area for the arts. And that we are a part of that is a blessing in my life.
He loves what he does, and it shows in everything he does. We are blessed to have him as the conductor of the Phil. I think the entire Plymouth community is blessed to have him. He's truly a treasure who has added so much to the cultural and educational life of this community.
I'm grateful for 25, but I'm not done yet.
Our government update this month brings us a preview for Duxbury's town meeting.
Duxbury's Powder Point Bridge is one of the most scenic places on the South Shore, but its constant exposure to New England's harsh weather means that keeping it maintained presents a constant problem, one that Duxbury's Finance Committee addressed ahead of this spring's town meeting. While the bridge's pilings underwent repairs 5 years ago, those measures proved to be ineffective in the long term. The settlement reached with the contractor for those repairs provides for a temporary fix at no additional cost to the town, but Duxbury is still searching for a more permanent solution, and an article at the special town meeting in March seeks funds for an evaluation to determine what form that might take. And it's not just the bridge that's in need of maintenance. The town's many lakes and waterways make use of an aquatic weed harvester to manage excessive underwater plant growth, and with the machine currently in use clocking in at 19 years old, The Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee both moved to support an article funding the purchase of a new one. If passed at town meeting, the $42,000 appropriation will supplement $35,000 in state money to cover the cost. And the Department of Public Works is seeking money for a new operations center building, citing disrepair at the current facility as well as crowded conditions, resulting in several vehicles and pieces of equipment being stored outside. Advocates of a new facility say that indoor storage would reduce maintenance costs and that a modernized building would be less susceptible to the type of fire or collapse that have caused significant losses at other DPW facilities across New England. The project is still in its opening phases, with summer of 2020 being eyed as a possible start date for construction. Duxbury's annual town meeting takes place on March 9th at the Performing Arts Center. For PACTV, I'm Keith Hughes.
AAA's car doctor, John Paul, is back with some common myths regarding engine oil, tires, and gas.
Hi, I'm John Paul, AAA's car doctor, and today I thought we'd talk about some automotive myths, and there are quite a few. One of the first ones is, do you need to change your car's engine oil every 3,000 miles? No, that's a myth. Over the years, engine oil has gotten better, engines have gotten better, and oil filters have gotten better. So in some cases, you can change the engine oil every 5,000, 7,000, or in the case of the car behind me, which happens to be my wife's car, every 10,000 miles or once a year, and that's because it uses synthetic oil, a good quality oil filter, and you can really stretch out the time and mileage, but never go longer than what it says in the owner's manual. Another myth that comes up all the time is, if I put better gas in my car, will I get more miles per gallon? No, you won't, unless your car calls for premium gas. But a car like this one, or most of the cars in the parking lot here, only call for 87 octane gasoline. So if you put 89 or 91 or even 93 in, it's not going to make the car run any better, it's not going to be more powerful, and it's not going to get better gas mileage. But if your car requires premium fuel, you need to use it, or you could damage the engine. One of the myths that comes up a lot is you need to replace 2 tires on your car. And you think, well, my car's front-wheel drive, so I should put the 2 new tires in the front. And that's not actually true. The 2 new tires should go in the rear. The rear tires are actually more prone to getting nail punctures and things like that. Also, the rear tires control skidding. So if your tires are better in the front and worse in the back, you're more likely to get into a skid where the back of the car is going to come around. So if you're only replacing 2 tires on your car, the thinking is always put the best tires in the back and then put the other tires in the front. You'll still get good traction providing they're decent tires, and the car will behave better in wet and snowy conditions. These are just some of the automotive myths, and there are more. But really, to get the best information about your car, go to your owner's manual. Always check it there. That's where you're going to find some of the best information. For PCN, my name's John Paul, and I'm AAA's car doctor.
We are so pleased to welcome back on set Leslie Cutler for her section that we called Mindful Moments, and Leslie is a licensed psychotherapist. Leslie, welcome back.
Thank you, Julie. It's so wonderful to be here today.
It's
Thank
been a
you.
while.
It has been a little while, and I've missed seeing you guys.
And we've missed you. And today, a very apt topic.
Yes.
You're going to talk about the 5 ways that social media affect our mental health.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
let's dig right into that. So give me a preview on why you decided to do this.
Well, part of it is because this topic keeps coming up in my office again and again, and also personally. I mean, every time we turn on our phone or our computer, we're hit with people's latest job promotions, people's trips to the Bahamas, people's, and I keep thinking there must be some way that this is affecting people, this media oversaturation. You know, we have these little windows into people's lives, and they're showing their best self.
Yep.
And what winds up happening is all of this comparison and jealousy and one-upping each other and this type of thing. And I started wondering, well, how does this affect our mental health and really our own authentic in-person relationships versus our virtual relationships? And there was a study that came out by the American Association of Pediatrics, and they really warned against, social media bullying and the importance of parents monitoring this for the kids. And I'm thinking, well, my goodness, this certainly must affect adults as well. So as we know, social media hasn't been around forever,
Right.
but now there are a number of studies coming out, and I've really just immersed myself the last couple weeks in reading these reports and these studies about what the findings are. And I've read scores of them, but I wanted to kind of put them in a nutshell for us today and just present kind of an overall findings.
Overview, right.
Yes.
Because everyone's social media footprint is very unique, very different, and
Yes.
it's some people only post sad things because do they want attention? Some people only post happy things, so there's nothing wrong with your life.
Right,
You
right.
know,
No,
and
it's interesting.
We even draw conclusions based on what people post
Yes.
about those people.
And you know, introverts, extroverts, people with narcissistic traits, they all go about using it in a different way.
Exactly.
And then that's exactly kind of what you're saying,
Right,
too.
right.
Is, you know, some people post more towards the darker, some people
Yeah.
kind of go over the top in
Right,
terms
everything
of...
is wonderful. Yeah, it's all butterflies and
Yeah.
rainbows. So let's talk about the 5 major things that came out of these
Yes,
studies that you
yes.
come up with. And number 1 is social media is highly addictive.
Yes. Okay. So I have not personally found that to be the end result of any particular study. But what I'm saying is that many of the studies out there point to a lot of addictive traits. Okay, and talk about something called this Facebook addiction disorder.
Okay.
And so, you know, it's interesting because they fit the diagnostic criteria. So in other words, they did one study where individuals were taking their social media and their internet away from them. Okay, so this is both internet and social media.
Okay.
And they noticed that there were increasing rates of anxiety among those people. They found also that people that are on social media excessively tend to have a lot of addictive traits. So in other words, they're going there for a type of escapism. They're going there for, you know, a way of kind of modifying their experiences. They're going there, you know, for all the reasons that a person engages in addictive behavior patterns.
Right.
And it's just interesting the way they mirror each other. And I really think it's only going to be kind of a matter of time that it is actually considered an actual addiction and listed in the DSM, which is, you know, of course, the Bible for psychological disorders.
Right. Now, just as a commentary for kids, kids that start with their own Facebook pages at a very young age. Can you speak to that at all? Because we know that children tend to get addicted to things quickly.
Yes.
Very quickly. Like if you
Yes.
start smoking cigarettes, you're addicted right away.
Right,
It's crazy. So I know adults use it certain. Can you just speak as far as the addiction to children or young people?
Yeah, and you know, we'll talk a little bit more about that as I'm kind of moving along.
Okay.
But you know, there's a reason why there's an age limit for kids to get on social media.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids will just click that they're 18 or over
And
or
they're
whatever,
not.
and
Right.
they'll use their parents' date of birth. But there's some very interesting effects of what happens to kids and the way that kids communicate over social media. And we'll
Okay.
get to that in a couple minutes,
Okay.
and that's very important to know.
So number 2.
Yeah, it triggers sadness and low self-esteem. So a study that came out a couple years ago showed that people's moment-to-moment happiness was decreased as a result of being on social media. So, you know, so often we go on it to try to feel happy or to find something that maybe might make us laugh or to see pictures of our friends and their babies and, you know, but what we're finding is that this is not the case at all. There was one study done over 11 social media sites, and in that, of course, was Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest, the whole kit and caboodle, so 11 of them. And they found that people that spent a significant amount of time on these sites had a perceived sense of social isolation. So whether or not they are actually socially isolated is probably not the case,
Right.
but they feel like they are. And that perceived feeling of loneliness can easily spiral into a whole plethora of, you know, psychiatric type illnesses as well as physical
problems.
illness as well.
Sure.
And is a sign actually of early death. If an individual is highly lonely, the chances of an early death are much more significant. So I think it's important to note just you know, these
But it
things.
does trigger sadness and low self-esteem.
Yeah, and it's interesting though too, because I think it's crazy to feel lonely in this hyper connection.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's at us.
Yeah.
From
How do you circle that square?
Yeah, it's nuts. And I remember like when we were kids, if you were going out with somebody or had a boyfriend or a partner or a girlfriend, then if they wanted to break up with you, they would need to pick up the phone and call you,
or face to face,
or actually have a conversation, right?
Yeah.
But what seems to be happening with social media is what starts out as this kind of adolescent, intense relationship online. All of a sudden, the person drops off. The other individual is sitting there waiting, is becoming anxious, knows that the individual has a phone, is on their phone all the time, and can't figure out what it is that they did wrong.
Right.
And so in that not knowing, they assume the worst, that, they make something up and they hold on to something that's not the truth. And, so the conversation doesn't even happen. They wind up being put on the back burner. And strangely, they wind up doing that to others as well.
To other people. So it also brings unhealthy comparisons and jealousy into our lives.
Yes.
Clearly, right? If
you
you see someone who's always happy and wonderful and beautiful and perfect, it's like, what are they doing right?
Right.
And I'm doing wrong.
But you know what's even more bizarre about this? It found that this whole comparison factor, whether we're comparing in a positive or negative way, tends to have a negative depressive result.
Yeah.
So the studies have found this. They did basically a thumbs up, thumbs down type of
study.
And they showed the person a variety of different pictures of different engagements. And so people were feeling the downward direction for not only things that were positive, but also things that were negative. So the outcome was, unlike the human interaction of, oh, wow, your family's beautiful, you just went on a great vacation, oh, you just got that promotion again. Even the dark things made them feel worse about themselves, which is really interesting.
Yeah, and
because
odd.
And very odd.
Number 4.
All right, so number 4, we get caught up in this delusion of thinking that it will help.
It meaning social media.
Yeah, when we were just talking about this, so often we just take out our phones, we mindlessly scroll through them. And I think what we do is what's called a forecasting error. So you assume that you're going to feel different after looking at it. And again and again and again, you are left feeling worse, which is exactly the cycle of addiction. Because you think about any addiction, it's like that need for the immediate quenching, but then the after effect is this really kind of dark heaviness.
Right. And you're like, why did I do that?
And why did I do that?
Right.
So I think that's crucial to remember when you're kind of have that urge to pull your phone out.
And number 5 is more friends. I have lots of friends.
Yes,
don't equal
friends.
more active social life. You might have 500 friends, but how many can you do this with?
Well,
have conversations with eye to eye with.
Yeah, and you're so right about that. And this type of relationship has such different effects than that relationship. And quite frankly, there's only so many people that one person could possibly manage in terms of friendships. I mean, we all kind of cap off at a certain spot because we have lives and we have children or responsibilities or whatever. So, a lot of times people think that by adding people that they're going to be off in a better place and that they're going to be more social. But that is not the case whatsoever. And the human interaction can work significant wonders over what, the virtual kind of exchange will be.
So just to tie this all up in a knot, there are good things, obviously, about social media. I know when the power is out, you use Facebook to find out, did you get power back? Is there a tree down? I mean, when people are doing a GoFundMe for someone in the community, there's a lot of positive aspects to it.
I absolutely agree with you. And I have seen, and research has shown too, that the positive part of social media really helps those teenagers and adolescents who are kind of on the fringe. So I'm thinking of, a trans, a gay, a bisexual child who lives in a very rural area, or a disabled child can connect with other like-minded individuals their age and get that connection.
They have a community.
And they can build a community. And that's the place where it can be very, very helpful. But, of course, it's key that all things in moderation.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we're out of time. This has been great, and it's something that's not going to go away. Social media is here to stay, and your takeaway really is to be mindful of what you're using it for.
Yes.
And be honest with yourself as to what you're using it for.
Yes,
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah.
Honesty and awareness,
Exactly.
mindfulness in all things.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Miss
Julie.
Leslie. We'll have you back soon.
Thank you.
Okay. And thank you for watching. PCN is on Facebook and Twitter, so be sure to follow us there. For more information and links to stories, check out PCN at www.pactv.org. PCN is also on YouTube, so be sure to follow our channel. We're back on March 14th with more great local stories. Have a wonderful week.